Hey everybody, this is BobbySapphire with TheHyperloops. Um, haven't made a public video in a while, but this is. Oh, let me pause it. This is my draft, our Sunday team draft, with the three of us from the Hyperloops: NJ Cuenca, Joe Colon, honestly sarcastic, and then three of our buddies who are also just randomly Patreon supporters, New England keeping it tight. Mike Murphy, our buddy Brian, and Josh Goldschlag. I don't know, remember Brian's last name off the top of my head, but anyway, we're doing a draft. Joe's on my left, Nick's on my right. And right now we're just opening our packs and seeing what the rares are and kind of telling everyone what they are. And I'm sort of getting used to the angles. So Nick opens up for, like, as you can see, those dice on the right are Nick's. They're Dooku and Con Artist. I open Padawan and Cable Launcher. So Nick just starts opening all his packs, and the third rare was Sienna. So if he just didn't open all six of his packs like a jackhole, I would have gotten a Sienna or a Dooku past me, which would have been sweet. As is, I open Lone Operative, Padawan, and Cable Launcher. And then, so I think the next couple minutes are us figuring out what the hell Nick should do because he opened all six of his packs like a jabroni. So while he does that, I'm just going to talk a little bit about my feelings on draft. Maybe you checked out my draft primer the other day. It was long. It was 3,500 words, so it was long, but it had a lot of my thoughts. Looking around the table, I know that like I want a low-cost character so that I can go Ketsu Anakin if all else fails. And I'm kind of flipping through my pack here, which is just seeing what I've got. I'm not super familiar with Cable Launcher, so I'm like taking a closer look at that. And just sort of reading all the cards that I'm not super familiar with because they're not constructed playable, most of them. And like that's really, really what I'm focused on as a player, constructed. So I think Lone Operative is really, 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 really good. And I really, really want to take it. I also think Price to Failure is really good, and I don't think it's getting back to me. But Padawan also excellent. Not only is Padawan an 8-cost character, so she fits in with that plan of going Anakin Ketsu. She also leaves me a little bit of room because she's 8 plus. Like even if I would use Anakin, like if I get a 12-point character, that could be huge, or an 11-point character I could use with Ketsu. Obviously, Padawan allows me to play a weapon on her for -1, which saves me a resource, or so it can like leave me with a resource to still play something if I have a 2-cost weapon, or lets me really ramp out and get a 3-cost weapon on her right away. And since Vibro Sword, which comes with the Rivals pack, is redeploy, having that anytime I have that in my opening hand, and if I have another weapon, I can pretty aggressively mulligan for it, would allow me to really, really start off well. And I think my feeling is really in this format, and man, I hate how blurry it is, but there was just no good angle for me to get, sadly. So you're going to have to deal with the blurriness and just identify cards by picture, which a lot of us do anyway. I really think having a character that costs 9 points or less is more important than almost every upgrade, unless you get an absolutely bomb upgrade. I think Lone Operative is a bomb upgrade, but it only has 1 damage side. It has 2 heal sides, which can come in very handy. I don't think you can go wrong with either one of these picks. And obviously, this is going on like for a really long time while we figure out what I don't even know what Nick is doing at this point, but I'm really torturing myself over this. Lone Operative has a 2 melee side, a 2 discard side, a resource side, and 2 sides that heal 2 from your character, and 3 if that's the last character around. So it's just so strong. And it costs 3, which, is normally a lot, but in limited. The games are a little slower. They're a little grindier. It's going to go longer. So the more chances I have to roll that, the better. But what really solidifies it for me is that when Nick finally, and this is the really interesting part about drafting, is that you really have to see what else is around the table. Josh, who's to Nick's right, did not open like 3 characters, so I wasn't guaranteed a low-cost character. And when Nick finally randomly revealed which cards he'd be passing, Sienna and Bala Teak weren't in there, which meant he'd be getting either Sienna or Bala in the second pack and passing to his right. so I wouldn't get Sienna or Bala. I think if he was passing me, like if he showed me Sienna and Bala, I would windmill slam this lone operative. But because, and obviously I knew what information he had because he opened them wrong. But I still knew I wasn't getting a character, and if I don't take this Padawan, I might not get a character past me. I might not open a character. So in this situation, it became important to me that I take the Padawan. So I'm going to skip ahead because this is taking a while. I take the Padawan, and what I really should be thinking going into my second pack, which I wasn't thinking, is that I should be focused on blue and yellow. I should want to play Anakin, Padawan, Ketsu. Ketsu's great because if I have a redeploy weapon on Padawan or anyone, plus a regular weapon, I essentially get a free redeploy out of Ketsu, and I really want to get, I really want to be able to take advantage of moving two weapons. So I should say Nick opened Dooku and an LL30, and so I knew I was getting either Dooku, who is 12 points, it is non-elite, or maybe 11. Either way, I'd be able to run Dooku, Padawan, Ketsu, and an LL30. And so I knew I was either getting the LL30 or the Dooku, which further gave me a reason to take the Padawan. But at that point, I know I want to be blue-yellow, and I should avoid all red cards until I see a red character. Because Lobot's fine, but he's not as good if I want to be weapons-based. I want to really build out my Padawan, make her such a threat that they go after her to take advantage of Ketsu, and then Anakin's obviously just solid. So you could see I'm still tortured here. I mean, we're going on 6 minutes, and I'm still tortured by this decision. And I'm showing the guys because I think it's worth talking about to my team. And I'm just flipping through, seeing what might come back to me. That's something that is really important in drafting. If you look at if I look at the 7 best cards or the 6 best cards that I think will be taken, which are the 3 dice cards, the price of failure. Possibly, I don't know how people feel about the battlefields, but possibly separatist base. What could I get back? So I decide to go with the Padawan, like I said, and I should be focusing on not taking any red cards from here on out, unless I see a red character, which I already know that I'm not going to. So Isolation, really good. Relentless Pursuit, fine. Cornered Prey, not amazing. Crate Dragon Howl, fine. Pulling the strings. I actually like Crate Dragon Howl quite a bit in this format. It's spot blue, but milling them for 2 or taking a die away, either one is going to be solid in a lot of decks. So I really, really like it. E-Web doesn't seem that bad to me. Second Chance is fine if you're going to be double yellow, but I have the Padawan, so I already know I'm not going to be. And Impersonate's cool, but there's just no way I'm not taking a redeploy weapon that could cost me 1 when I have Padawan. So that was a really easy pick. I didn't have any difficulty with that pick at all. It's completely on theme for what I'm trying to do. One of the things that knowing all the point costs of the characters is really important. Obviously, you don't want to take a guy and get stuck not being able to build the team you want to build. But one of the other things you really want to focus on is just the synergy. That Isolation, really strong. And the Crate Dragon Howl, not premium removal. But if I only have 1 blue character and he's Anakin, and people are going to target Anakin because he has 3 damage sides, taking something like Isolation can be a gamble. But really, I think what trumps that spot blue is just how premium mitigation is in this format. There aren't a lot of great cards that just remove dice. And Isolation's one of them. Most people are going to be doing damage via their whatever character they draft. And I think it's really key to have good mitigation cards. Again, there's no reason not to take the LL30 in that one. All right, let's see what we get from Nick in pack 3. I know for a fact that I really hate what I'm about to do here, but I don't remember what else was in the pack, so I'm very interested in seeing. Lying in Wait. So I think Lying in Wait could be really good just because... and Patience, too. I just think Mill and High Health is a really good strategy. And I consider taking Lying in Wait here. Because especially late game when people are working really hard to keep cards in their hand, it can be huge. Fair Trade also can be amazing here. fair trade, just, late in the game, people are stacking up their resources. If you're able to use all of yours, it's just really, really strong. Using your fair trade to steal any amount of money, and this could be really, really good, especially against someone who uses Lobot to like get +2 resources. But here I'm blinded by my Padawan. I'm thinking, all right, I have Padawan. I need all the weapons I can get. I'd be able to play this turn 1. It's not the best weapon ever, but with 2 specials and a 2 base side, like that's not bad for two resources on my Padawan. And I'm telling you right now, I'm gonna make this pick. I'm gonna take the gun. But do you know why it's absolutely positively wrong? It's because I already established that I was not gonna play Lobot. I was gonna play Ketsu, Anakin. Ketsu, Anakin, Padawan. That was my plan. And I picked these up here, and I'm like, oh, I have 3 different colors. Why did I do that? So Rebel Assault, not bad if you are going heavy red. Shoot First is actually kind of interesting if you have enough range, and I have that LL30. Doubt's really good. Force Misdirection could be strong here because I'm going to be playing 2 blue characters. But really, is there anything better than Doubt? I think maybe Force Misdirection could be better if I'm absolutely playing Anakin, because it's hero. And I think you'll find once you do a couple drafts that so many of the good cards are neutral. Doubt is villain, so that's good. But I mean, most of the time, I'm going to be wanting to use Doubt for removal. I think Doubt is 0 cost removal is really, really strong. The fact that it's villain also helps Anakin. So I really like that pick. For getting my first non-die card, for it to be Doubt is strong. I like it a lot. All right. Here we've got Tenacity. 3 to exhaust a character, probably not going to happen. Pulling the Strings, Destiny, Squad Tactics, activating a number of your non-uniques. Scavenge, I'm too afraid of milling myself. Diplomatic Immunity. The 4 cost is scary. Fearlessness is interesting too. So my hesitation here is like I really want to be weapons based because I really want to build out my Padawan, transfer 2 weapons over to Ketsu. But I'm looking at Fearless, get a shield, get a card every turn in a long grindy game. That's an awesome card. I totally wish I could tell you that I was a genius and took that card. But I'm not. And I wish I could tell you that I looked at Diplomatic Immunity. I said, yeah, I can overwrite, and that card's insane. I can take 3 or 4 shields. I can spread them out. It's got a 2 focus. It's really expensive. But I can't. I'm not a genius. I'm really worried about spending the resources on anything but money. And I feel that even though if I could go back in time, I would take this. I'd take either Fearless or Diplo. I'm honestly not sure which, because I saw Diplomatic Immunity be really good for Joe. Joe and I both went 3-0 with this draft. I decided to take Destiny because I'm thinking I'm playing 2 blue characters. Maybe I get Anakin's pay side and I can't afford it, and I'm able to like push out another weapon. I really just had in my head that I want to be a weapon stack, and I wasn't really thinking that there aren't a ton of weapons that are in this format. So that's the second bad pick I made, and that's kind of what I like about doing these videos, is that there's just so much to learn from going back. So Prepare for War is interesting, but I'm not super convinced I'm going to be claiming all that often. Like, we haven't even played a game yet, and I'm aiming to play 3 characters and take a lot of action. So No Surrender is kind of interesting. I like these things that are re-rolling and getting action economy. Spirit of Rebellion is interesting because it's just a free shield. Hit and Run is interesting. But again, like, I'm not going to be red, so these cards, there's a lot of red in these packs, and, that doesn't interest me as someone who, finally realized that I didn't want to play red. I decided to take the Hit and Run just because I think it's the strongest card in the pack. And there's, like, if I'm not going to play any of those cards, like I wasn't going to play Garbage Will Do. If I'm not going to take any of those cards, there's just really no reason to pass a good card like Hit and Run. So here I decide I'm between the Cable Launcher and the Dodge, but I'm not sure like Dodge is going to come in that handy how many range sides there really are. And while Cable Launcher is yellow character only, having it on Ketsu, it's got 33% to remove a character die. And you'll never use its ability to remove 2, but just like that free removal is really strong. If I were to get it early, I wouldn't be sad about it. Relentless Pursuit is a card I wish I considered more. There is Guardian. People will play Lobot and Guardian. And being able to move that damage over for free is something that I saw people do to great effect over the weekend in these drafts. There's actually a decent amount of Guardian, but people are going to play Lobot because the Fang Fighter's really good, and there's really good red cards. And as you can see in these packs, none of the players at the table are playing red because all the great red cards are going around. But I decided to take the Krayt Dragonhowl because, again, I'm not sure that Mill won't come into play in these games. I wrote about that quite a bit. I think Mill might be the way a lot of games end just because they're so grindy. And I like that it is either damage removal or milling too. And, I'm planning on playing two blue characters, so I'm not worried about the spot blue problem. Not a lot of good in this pack. I should probably consider the lying in wait. Disable to exhaust a support, actually not bad. Not bad at all in a deck, because there's some decks that that get a lot of vehicles. I had that played against me, and it was sort of sad. I decided to take Otagunga, and I think you'll see a trend where I decided to take a couple battlefields when I didn't see cards. I didn't think by playing two colors I would have a problem getting to 30 cards, and I really, again, I'm going to keep harping on this. I'm really worried about mill. I don't want any draw effects. I don't want any mill effects. I don't want to mill myself. But yeah, I underestimated how hard it would be to get to 30 cards. I think that's something that I had to do in order to, just learn. So I'm not sure what to take here. I'm never tell me the odds would be fine. I'm gonna play Ketsu. I want her to have weapons on her late game. If I'm in one of those situations where I'm not able to play a bunch of weapons, that I could set up her die roll post claim. And if it's one of those situations that are happening late in these limited games where people just have 10 resources because there's nothing to spend money on, spending 3 to focus 2 dice or even 1 die, if it's going to get me a win, is fine. So here's another pack of trash. Tenacity is not what I want to be doing. These red cards aren't what I want to be doing. I can take the Secret Facility, or I can take the Emperor's Favor. It's a villain card, so I can pitch it with Anakin. Unlikely to make the cut, but I like that it was at least villain, so if I really needed some villain cards, that I could fill up my deck with villain cards. Again, not looking to play any of these cards. Remove all dice is kind of interesting for 4. I figure that that's the strongest card in the pack, and passing the strongest card out of those is I'm not going to play any of them, so passing the strongest card is no problem. I'm not going to play, I kind of do wish I played Bounty Posting, even though I am petrified of milling myself as I keep bringing it up. But I take the Separatist base here in case I want to get cheeky with some of the battlefields. But I have to say, having taken a bunch of battlefields in this one, I wish that I didn't. Lightsaber training, not bad. Being able, if I'm able to open even 1 blue weapon, having a lightsaber training in your deck is great. So to get that to second to last pick is pretty strong. You start with crafted lightsaber, which is very, very good. And then, yeah, like I said, any other blue weapon. And, it's fine as a focus for 1 because it's up to 2 blue dice. But then if you are able to assemble your Voltron and get 2 blue weapon dice out there, oh my God, you can really do some damage. And there were multiple Shoto lightsabers open in this draft. So I'm just waiting to open the packs. I open, that's a Gamorrean Guard. I opened Ventress, and I opened a Block, which is great. I really like Block because Anakin has those 2 sides. Ketsu has sides. Crafted Lightsaber is so good. Vibro Sword is so good. Well, I wouldn't have probably drafted Dodge. I'm sad that this Block is here because I know it's not going to get back to me. A lot of good cards in this pack. Retreat, Datapad, Ventress. Those are my 2 dice cards. Guard. I mean, this pack was great. Not sad to see Meditate. So the Gamorrean Guard is 10 cost, 11 health, which is really good. Guardian, which is insane. And with the Padawan, I can still play blue, but now I can go blue, yellow, yellow, and keep my Padawan and my Ketsu alive while I load them out. and the Gamorrean Guard has so much health, he's going to help, perpetuate this plan. So I get the best thing about Lobot in Guardian, only I get it all the time, not just when I control the battlefield. But I'm not forced to play a worse character in Lobot, and I can play, this, so I can be melee based, play my crafted lightsaber, play my vibro sword, and be really happy with those damage stats. Like his die, other than 2 blanks, is perfectly fine. And passing, like Asajj is okay too. She's a little overcosted for a 9 health character, but she's totally fine. Her ability can be backbreaking. So, okay, let me pause here. So I get that pack, and obviously I know what the person to my left opened. Joe opened an Aura Sing, which if you don't follow the Hyperloops at all, or you don't know me, BobbySapphire, I am in love with Aura Sing. I love her. And Aura Bala has been one of my favorite decks ever since she was released. I actually didn't think Joe would pass the Vibro Knife because... I'm sorry, I didn't think... Yeah, because the Vibro Knife is so good, I figured Joe would pass me Aura Sing. He didn't. He gave me the Vibro Knife, and I don't know what weapon would be better than Vibro Knife in this format. You're going to have, a lot of the times, you're going to have a surplus of resources. To have a weapon that essentially says 2/2/3 melee, 2 discard, 3 discard in limited format is unreal. Being able to win the game by damage, being able to win the game by mill is just a really, really strong card. And at this point in the pack, like this, again, these packs are great. High ground. Roll on is really efficient because you really can't pitch to reroll too often in limited because you'll deck yourself if you're not careful about that all throughout the game. Smuggling can be really strong. Just get a resource, for 2 cards in your hand. That's not a bad trade-off, especially if you're trying to dig a little deeper into your deck and find your weapons. So a lot of decent cards in these packs. A lot of good commons and uncommons that I'm going to hope table. Table's a term that means it gets all the way around the table and back to me. And looking at those packs, especially the one I opened, there are a couple cards that I think I'm going to be really happy to see when they get back to me. So right now we're shaping up to be a pretty decent blue-yellow deck. Obviously a couple mispicks with the battlefields. Obviously a mispick taking that red gun. And this is when I start to kind of see that I might not have enough cards to go blue-yellow. I mean, I'm still going to go blue-yellow. I mean, I might not have enough cards to get to 30. Joe's obviously got a very difficult decision, which is interesting because he should, like, the 2 dice cards should go. So I know that Nick or Josh have ATDP, and if either of them took Sienna, then that ATDP is going to be amazing. But I'm not red, and again, I'm already dangerously low on cards. Infiltrate is okay. It's a 1-cost upgrade. It's got 2 special sides that let you reroll dice, but and as good as dice are, I don't want to just take bad cards just because they have dice. So again, ignoring the red cards for this draft because I'm pretty focused on my Gamorrean Guard, my Padawan, and either Ketsu or Anakin. And I think that that's smart. I know sometimes when I make these videos or articles for the public, people don't like closed-mindedness, but in limited, so I'm going to pause it for a second. In limited, it's like very important to have a plan and stick to that plan and not get derailed off that plan. Taking red cards when I have very strong blue and yellow options that are just strictly better than Lebo, like diversifying myself just to fit in a couple marginal red cards is not optimal. I'm not going to play red just for that one A280 that I drafted and the Fang Fighter. But I am going to do things like take Hyperspace Jump when I think that card could be really, really strong, especially if, when I have Hyperspace Jump in my hand, I know that I can be ultra aggressive, take whatever damage I can, and as soon as my opponent threatens any kind of damage to me, jump away. I really, really like. I think Swiftness, which is a card that I've been really hard on in constructed play, is actually decent. And I'm giving this infiltrate a shot. Like, I'm really thinking about these dice cards. Should I pass them? And that's one of the important things about draft. You have to understand that you're passing to people you're going to play against. And the only other thing I'll say, let me pause one more time. We did a team draft, which means that after we drafted, we chose teams randomly. And so some of these guys were going to be on my team. So there's also this like sub game that comes up where, and I'm going to post the rules to team drafting in the article that goes along with this video. So if you haven't checked the article, I do a pretty elaborate breakdown of what team draft is and how to do it. Passing ATDP to a player who could be on my team is amazing. But if I pass ATDP to the player with Sienna and they're not on my team, that could be detrimental. So I have to decide, like, do I want to help myself or do I want to take the chance of playing against someone with that combination? In a tournament draft at your store, you have this ATDP and you're going to pass to someone you know has Sienna. Do you want to play against that? If I was red, it would be a no-brainer because ATDP is really good. I'm playing red. I'll just put it in my deck. But I've like I said, I've already made this decision. I'm going to be Gammo, Padawan, and either Ketsu or Anakin. So I think I was saying swiftness I haven't really liked in constructed, but I did some pretty silly things with swiftness. Specifically, I liked swiftness with the card that says turn one of your dice to a resource side. And then if you have Anakin, or like I had the Gamorrean guard, or maybe your ATDP that has a 3 with a resource, like there's a lot of damage sides with resource costs. Vibrosword has one. The T21 repeating blast or whatever it's called from the Rivals pack has one. Swiftness with that, like when you have a little bit of money, like, you have 3 money late in the game, I'll pay 3 to do, 3. So I take the hyperspace jump, which again, I think is a card I can really solidly play to my advantage. It's one of those cards that like, it gives you this perfect information. You know you have it. Your opponent doesn't know they have it. You play really aggressively. You do some damage. You get out of there. So now I get past Lando, and I'm like, okay, let me see what I got here. Can I take Lando? Like, should I be doing a Lando, Gamorrean, Padawan type situation? I checked the point values. It doesn't work out because single die Lando is 13 somehow. So starting the game with a resource, meaning I could put 2 weapons on Padawan turn 1 if I had 2 2-cost weapons, would be kind of bonkers. But he costs 13. So as cool as that is, Sabotage is a good card too. Discard cards from your hand to discard a support that can get rid of like 3 cards in your hand to kill their Fang Fighter. That seems awesome. I decided to go with the Friends in Low Places because seeing my opponent's hand is really strong. Mitigation is really, really strong. So to have something that both gives me perfect information on my round and takes a card from my opponent's hand, possibly something that's going to prevent me from killing him, is really strong. So I'm poor training. Can't play with dice outside your collection. I'd love logistics. Bazine. So hold on. The fact that Bazine is still in this draft, I think we're in like the 5th pick. Yeah, I think Josh opened it. So I think this is the 4th pick in the pack. Man, for a 7-cost character to be there, with a 7-cost character and a Jawa, you can like legitimately make a 4-character team. With a Bazine and an 8, like, so I know that Nick that I'm passing to has an 8 already. And with 8, 7 is 15, 6 is 21. If he has a 9-point character or less, he can make a 4-character team. That's a lot of health to chew through. Bazine isn't bad, so I'm shocked to see her. But I decided to not get sidetracked. I love improvisation. I like legitimately love improvisation. It's got ambush, so you can play it right before you claim. So what it does is you exhaust it and remove a blank to re-roll your dice. I said multiple times, you have to be very judicial about re-rolling your dice, pitching cards to re-roll 1. Like in constructed, that's fine. Like, yeah, I'll pitch to re-roll and hope to hit a 1 damage, no problem. In limited, with like if you can't get to 30 cards in your deck, that's a huge problem. So I really like improvisation to fix my rolls, and especially with the Gamorrean guard has 2 blanks. That could come in real handy for me. So no one's taking dice cards. I'm looking at the red cards, closing the net, probe, decent cards, guerrilla warfare, all fine. Bomar Monastery is pretty interesting. I see another improvisation. And I'll just say this one more time. I think Mill could be real. In Con Artist with 2 double disrupt isn't even that bad for a die side, especially early. Like, if you want a mulligan for an upgrade, something like Con Artist, mill a couple cards, disrupt a little bit, overwrite it the next round, or just later on. I really don't mind it at all. I think it's a fine upgrade, and for it to go that late, I'm a little surprised. I think my friends here are not. Oh, Dangerous Mission is not in the Rivals pack. So you can't see it, but it says turn a die to a side showing a resource cost. I'm trying to get the camera to focus, but it's not. Like I'm looking at the screen and trying to make it happen. I like die focus, and again, like I really think the draft you're gonna have a surplus of money a lot of the time. So having something like that, especially after your opponent claims, to turn my Gamorrean to a 3, I really. So hold on. I got to the end of the pack and I got blinded by that arm to the teeth, thinking I'm going to have all these weapons out and I can do 3 extra damage to end the game, or 2 extra damage to end the game. I think if I took the block, I would have still gotten the arm to the teeth. This is another important part of drafting, knowing what's going to come back to you. I don't think anyone takes that arm to the teeth because I think that most people will think, oh, there's not a lot of weapons in draft. I'm not going to be able to take advantage of it. Or I only have 1 yellow character. I'm not going to be able to take advantage of it. But I knew I was going to play 2 yellow characters. I know that I can take advantage of it. Passing that block is a stupid move, and someone should slap me. Let me point out Imperial HQ. Imperial HQ is a bomb. It is a ridiculous bomb if you're a red player. The fact that I'm not red, so I can't do anything about this, but I know whoever took Sienna Ree and that ATDP is red. And leaving Imperial HQ in the pack is maddening to me, especially if you're going to play Anakin. So a couple interesting cards here. Daring Escape, which people like to reroll a bunch of dice. I'm kind of looking at Anger and Unpredictable. Gamorrean Guard having 2 blanks makes Anger pretty interesting to me. It's a huge blowout. People will not see it coming. So I'm kind of interested in that. I'm kind of interested in die removal that does damage. It's a free deflect if I'm showing 2 blanks. And over the course of a long grindy game, we're going to be showing blanks, especially with my Gamorrean having double blanks. So I decided to take the Anger there in an attempt to blow my opponent. I played the Anger in 2 out of 3 games, and it was primo. And there was one game where my opponent left his Grand Inquisitor die on the 3 for damage. 3 damage for a resource for 2 turns, and I just couldn't find a resource. I was re-rolling for resource, but I was leaving 1 blank. It was I telegraphed it. He's like, why didn't you re-roll that blank? And I was like, oh, I'm saving it for improvisation just in case. But really, I was trying to set up a dope Anger to steal his 3 damage. But I don't hate Anger. I think if I didn't have a Gamorrean Guard, I would take the Unpredictable, just because having the double blank makes Anger a little bit more palatable, likely to happen. So a bunch of red cards, all red cards in that swiftness. I'm not going to take any of those red cards. I'm not going to take my kind of scum, even though I have the Con Artist. Con Artist is not a card I hope to play every game to resolve disrupt size to get resources. But swiftness can let me do some pretty cheeky things, like if I have a +2 melee showing on my Gamorrean Guard and maybe a +2 from Crafted or +3 from Crafted, I can swiftness and tinker my Padawan to a 1 melee side and then do 6. So Go for the Kill is absolutely the card I should have taken. I talked about it in pack 1. I think I just didn't value it at all. I definitely wish that I had, if I had some drafts under my belt, I would Windmill Slam this Go for the Kill. It's 4 red cards and Lando, who I already know I'm not playing. So really, I take the Lando, but because I know I'm not playing Lando, there's absolutely no reason for me to not take the Go for the Kill. I don't know this because, this was my first draft, but I really struggled I played a 25 card deck and I struggled to get to 25. So to take the Lando over the Go for the Kill is a huge mistake that if I was to lose a game to Mill, that 1 card could have made the difference. I think I took that. I was talking, so I didn't catch it, but I took a great card. I think it was that mission card. I'm starting to sleeve up my cards now to get ready so we can start playing. Um, yeah, I don't remember what card it was. I think it was the turn a resource side. Turn a die to a resource side. Um, but yeah, I can't stress enough now that we're winding down that that making sure you have playables. Like I should have been. Oh, there's dangerous mission. I should have been counting my playables, and that's something another thing that you should do. Like I know I'm not playing red, so I separate all the red cards and I count the rest. Do I have enough? There's 15 or so playable cards from the rivals pack. 15 plus whatever's in my pack. Like or no, there's not 15. There's like 10 because I was counting the characters. Do I have enough to make a 30 card deck? Do I have enough to make a 25 card deck? So here I am. I'm flipping out on everyone for not taking the Imperial HQ. Like trying to explain. I'm really, really indignant that people wouldn't take the Imperial HQ. I'm really, really pointing out how angry I am at my team for not seeing the value of that card. Um, and for it to go second to last is just a little nuts to me. So that's it for the draft video. I hope it goes fast at times, it goes slow at times. So I tried to do my best, just sort of explaining my thought process. Um, as much as is like a lot of people and saying, "Oh, go rainbow." I don't think you have to go rainbow. I do think you have to draft knowing that if you're not going rainbow, that you could struggle to find 30 cards. If you haven't checked out the article, please do, because I'm going to post a picture of my deck. I'm also going to post a picture of the cards that I didn't play. Most of them are do nothing cards. There weren't that many interesting decisions to make in my deck building. The hardest thing was getting like from number 21 to all the way up to 25. And I hope that if we take anything away from this video, it's to be extremely efficient with your drafting. Don't take battlefields when you can take playable cards. I ended up with like 4 extra battlefields, and as interesting as I think Bomar Monastery is, I think a lot of people will be. I thought like I didn't end up running it because I thought a lot of people would sort of want to take advantage of resolving their modified sides, and I didn't want it to go against me. I hate playing a battlefield that's going to betray me, like when Imperial Armory or something. But taking that Lando over a playable card that moves damage, like, come on, Mike, you're better than that. So I'm sort of disappointed in myself in that. Absolutely a few mistakes that were made. But please check out the article so you can see the deck that I built. Check out the article so you can see the rules to team drafting and how to select teams and how to backdraft the prizes and what all these terms mean. And, also just we're just doing draft week here at thehyperloops.com. So, yeah, if you have any questions, like post them on YouTube, post them on our website. You can find us. I've been hanging out. The Knights of Ren Discord has a limited format channel now, and I've been spending a lot of time there. I really, really enjoy limited, and I'm super psyched, and I hope you guys are too. And I know like some people have been sort of negative about it. They didn't have a great first experience. Stick with it. I promise you'll like it. And if you have any questions, just ask me. I'd love to help, and I'd love to get more people into limited. But I'm starting to lose my voice because this is I've been recording commentary for 2 hours for various Patreon videos, so I'm gonna go. But I appreciate you watching, especially if you watch this long. This is Mike, BobbySapphire from the Hyperloops, and I'll draft with you later.